of this conference, I mean, whether you've been coaching for 6 months or 6 years or 12 years, really the things that you learned and picked up this weekend, it's like never too late to implement them in your coaching, right? And make a change in the way that you coach. So really happy to be here with you guys this morning. Yesterday I was doing some introductions. This is something I'm much more comfortable with, being on the court, being with the athletes, and talking about volleyball. So this morning I want to address one of the challenges that was brought up yesterday by some representatives, and I believe it was one of our biggest challenges in Canada in training volleyball athletes. Okay, and it's the number of repetitions that our athletes get. Vince yesterday talked about it. John Barrett in the morning talked about it. It's a problem when we compare ourselves to other countries, right? In other countries, they have different ways to do things, and they actually get the athletes to start earlier and to get many more reps than we do, and that our athletes can get in Canada, right? The reasons are simple. How many hours do you practice when you come to 4 hours a week. Anyone else? 5? Okay, my company has 3 hours. Okay, I have 4 guys here, smaller guys, okay, they're 13 boys. We have 3 hours a week, 2 sessions of an hour and a half. That's nothing. You know, how are we supposed to train some skills when we only have 3 hours with some athletes a week? You know, how can we make a difference with them? You know, in their volleyball. So, really difficult. On top of that, okay, we only have often 1 coach per team. And you can have up to, we have 17 athletes here this morning. Okay, so I don't think that in the case of your club, often we have 12 athletes, but even 12 athletes on 1 court can be difficult. Okay, sometimes to work on some stuff. When you look at the national team or like some clubs in the US, they have a lot of things. They give your athletes a lot of reps. We don't have that luxury. Okay, so we need to find other ways of doing this. So this morning, I can title the session, okay, was giving practice back to the players. And that's the approach that I found, okay, through my travels and my interactions with coaches around the world. The best way that I found to maximize the number of contacts that our athletes are getting in practice. And I want to explain what I mean by giving practice back to the players. And I'm explaining it throughout the session with 3 principles. Okay? 3 principles are very simple. First one is take yourself out of practice. Second one's to be let players experiment. And the third one's to be embrace chaos. Okay, that was also the title of the session. Okay, I'm going to go through all of these. So I'm going to start with the first one. So take yourself out of practice to me is very, very important. Okay? I'm going to ask you a question. And that's a question that actually is still on. It's supposed to be here, we're not going to get later. Actually, it's supposed to be presented. We didn't cancel for personal reasons. But I picked that up from her, and she asked the question. She says, who in the gym, in a typical practice, gets the most repetitions? And I did. The coach. Okay? So what happens often is, you'll have some athletes, they'll line up, and then you're going to be hitting balls, right? So I hit 1 ball, 2 balls. By the time I hit 10 balls, so 1 ball per athlete, I've had 10 reps. And each of my athletes had only 1 rep. So they had 1/10, okay? Well, actually, 1/20 of all the reps in the gym, okay? Well, I had half. Okay? So when you see it that way, it gets you thinking, right? How can I take myself out of the gym? How can I make sure that my athletes are getting the reps and not me? Right? I mean, it's funny because this is something that I've learned along the way too. I mean, last year I was on the national team as an assistant coach, and I was going in, 2 years after retiring, and I was looking forward to getting back to my box and hitting some balls, right? I thought I was going to do a lot of that. I didn't. I got to hit maybe 50 balls in 3 months. That was nothing. Okay? Why? Because on the national team, all the national team athletes are running practice. They're the ones in the boxes. They're the ones serving when they serve receive. They're the ones setting when there's anything happening, right? They're the ones doing it. So once you take yourself out of practice, there's two ways I believe you can get that done. The first way is the learning while playing principle. And I'm sure you guys have learned that. If you're familiar with John Kessel and his blog on the USA News, so his Grow the Game Together blog, he talks a lot about this. Probably the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about learning a game by playing a game. So with random practice, you guys have heard of random practice? Yeah? Okay, you guys understand the concept of random practice? Okay. For those who are not familiar, random practice and playing, learning a game by playing the game is pretty much saying, actually some studies have shown that retention, okay, so when I learn a new skill and I'm going to be applying it in a game, the retention is much higher when I execute the skill in a game-like situation. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that means that there needs to be an element of reading, planning, decision-making, and acting on the ball, right? So what happens is if Sean, I'm hitting that new ball, and I'm hitting 10 balls in a row at you. Now you're just repeating the same movement 10 times, and you don't really have to think about it. Right? That's something that happens in the game. The game of volleyball is super random. Hey, John Mayer yesterday talked about it. He said there's never two steps that are the same. That is the truth. Okay, so if we want players to be able to execute the skills in practice, we got to put them in a context where they're going to have to make those decisions and make those cues. So that's the whole concept. That's the first concept I want to talk about. So that's the formula that I like to run, and it really puts into practice, the concept of random practice. So these guys right now are, having tons of contacts in the ball. Some of them might look funky, okay? Well, that's what I want. They're warming up, right? So I want them to be, doing some bounces and steps. I want them to be moving the body, using the body. So you see in the middle there. You've got the player doing sets and then putting the ball over your head. Well, you know what? Learning how to put your body in the ball and using your head is going to help you eventually grab the ball and set the ball up. Okay? So those are little things you can do as a warm-up. So they're very, very active. You get a lot of reps and working on coordination, foot movement, and all that stuff. Now, you can see this. There's 17 athletes and they're very, very few athletes not moving. Okay, this is designed that way. So very easy, very simple. Set up ladder, cones, hurdles on the side of the court, so that when your athletes are not actually playing a game that you set up for them, they actually get to train something and do something. One of the first things we usually do as coaches when we get to the gym. Actually, who asks their players to set up the net? Raise your hand. Okay? We do that, right? Say, okay, guys, can set up the net. But while we're setting up the net, I'm speaking with parents. Okay? My athletes are not getting reps. And I only have an hour and a half. Okay? So I'm losing 5 minutes to push this hour and a half that I have on my athletes. So what I like to do is just get my coach to get out the ladder, start doing some ladder stuff while I set the net and my assistant coach. This way we're doing something.